Everybody.
Okay, we can start.
Ready? Ready?
Already.
Good evening. Welcome everyone to another, and welcome everyone once again to this session, and especially a warm welcome to Professor Dr. Danny Wong, who will be giving us a commentary after the talk by Dr. Voon later on. And at the moment, to every one of you, we have 16 participants on this session. I'd like to just apologize. On behalf of Dr. Henry. Congratulations.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Yeah. Good evening to you all.
Rena, Madam Rena.
I think we lost touch with Madam Elena. She's on mute now.
Elizabeth?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes. So I'll continue reading from Dr. Henry's forward. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just continue. Where did I stop? Yes, it says it's rightly pointed out that Bao is in another threshold of greater and more balanced development of the 21st century. It is vital to understand and reflect on the socio-economic transformation of Bau. After the earliest Bidayuh settlement concept and plan, Bau is indeed not just a town center, but extends beyond all the heartland of the Bidayuh in Bau, such as Gombang, Tringus, Serembu, Krokong, Jagoy, Pratak, and Singai, turning clockwise. One travels from Batu Kitang, and along the way are Lidah Tanah, Kranji, Senyawan, Busoh, Jugan, Paku, Obau, Tondong, Musi, Sungai Pinang, and the edge of Batu Kawah, Moyan, Matang. This is perhaps the greater Bau, which must be constantly in our minds, as they are all part of Bau and need to be developed as a district in line with the Sarawak attaining its developed status in 2030. I would pray that in due time, and the new development in Bau are some of the factors that would help to realize it. I take this opportunity to thank the state, the government of Sarawak that has shown care and concern in developing Bau as a whole over the years. If you can, then we would like to pass the time to Dr. Voon as he talk on the greater Bau transformation towards a greater Bau in the 21st
Thank you. Elena, Madam Elena, Nick, can you put on the slideshow now?
Now we pass the time to Dr. Voon.
Thank you, Madam Elena. Yeah, good evening. We will have our
Dr. Voon,
recorded slide. Yeah,
your
can
camera
Nick,
your
Mr.
camera
Nick,
is
can
off.
you? Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Your camera, Dr. Voon. Your camera is turned off. Your microphone. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Just let you know. Thank you.
Okay, done.
I thought you recorded already. You show
Ah.
the recorded one.
Already
Share
recorded.
come. 10 seconds, right?
Yes.
So we're going to see some slides. Sorry for these glitches, technology glitches. Where is the voice, Nick?
Yes.
Nick. Where's the voice, recorded voice?
Already recorded from early.
No sound, no sound from my side.
I already recorded.
Is there any sound?
Yes. We can hear you clearly, Dr. Voon.
No, I mean the speech. I mean from the slides.
Or you want to show the video?
Yes, that's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go back to the slideshow recorded one with the one. Hold on. I'm sorry for the glitches. Okay, some miscommunication. Yeah. Can Nick please show the video, recorded video? Yeah. Thank you.
Dr. Voon.
Hello, Nick. How's it, Nick? So, Nick, how is it?
Wait, Dr. Voon.
Okay. Talk number 3 by Sati Research Institute. I'm Dr. Voon, director of the institute. I'm glad to be able to deliver another talk to you entitled Transformations Towards Greater Bau in the 21st century. So this is a very big name, but nevertheless, I am very confident that this particular talk will benefit the policymakers and so on. Yeah. So right, and so let's go again. Why? Because it's full of brains. This one is the book that I have written, entitled "A Life of Transformations." So from my research, I find that there are three types of transformations. Number one, cultural. Number two is political, and thirdly is economic transformation. In that order, yeah. In that order, so it's very peculiar. Some society they do not have they have a political first, but in Bau itself, because it is a very old town, old villages, so it starts with cultural, and then you have a political interventions and political input. Then you find that you have economy. Some other society may not have this kind of order. Some of them have economic before political and social. So all these are 3 CPE will actually cover, we have an impingement upon the life, social life of Bau people, social well-beings of the Bau people. So you can see now Kuching here, the picture of Kuching, very beautiful Kuching at the front. This is to show you that the Kuching is so, this one is the same thing. Kuching is so prosperous. Towards the end is the far away is the river to Bau there. So Bau is catching up with the greater Bau. All right, this perhaps this is one of the starting points. Is 200 BBC or Bau bicentennial celebration last year at the year 2020, where Greater Bau actually is birthed forth. So this is the logo, which is found everywhere. But the important thing is that in modernization or development terms, Bau has gone through 200 years since the mining days, and now more to modern infrastructural development. Again, this is a picture like a diamond. I put it here because you can see towns which is actually surrounding the Bau area, as well as Bau district, as well as by the river, you see. Okay, so the first one, after my introduction, brief introduction, is a cultural transformation. Culturally, Bau has gone through a lot. Yeah. Now, first one, I would say you can see in overall is education. This is a picture of education in the 50s and 60s. The first picture there is a missionary, where you can see our Bidayu children. And later you can see some developments, the one underneath. Okay, culturally it doesn't just restrict to Bau in the hinterlands, but you can also see Chinese. Chinese has a lot of cultural change. One thing, the cultural to be immortalized, I would say. But then the project was never completed. Okay, this is another picture that can tell us that there is a cultural change in terms of religion. Religion is very not only just a Catholic who play a major role in the development, but also like this picture we have Chinese. So Chinese has been there since the 1800s, and they bring along their Chinese culture, temples, and Chinese school in particular. All right. So you can see these are some of the latest dig. Actually, you have more than that. This is another latest dig, and it just symbolizes that there is a transformation also for the Chinese society as well as the Bidayu society. So these are some of the evidence. Those days they were like that. The school Chinese, for example, give them this is a temple of Chinese. Just for reminder, Bau has a majority, more than 90% are Bidayus, and we have Chinese, and then we have Malays. So this is one of them to show you that these earlier days is already existed. Okay, this is a typical Baroque or Baroque, and it's very beautiful, and it's found almost every village. And then it has a very good structure, and then this culturally is from a warrior perspective. And then this is another one of the old one, also found in Bau. You can see the scars there, so you can see that this I told myself is the era of warriors, where they have to have defensive system of their own, and then after that it turns into the new culture whereby they are educated. Yeah, these are some of the remnants of the Bidayu culture, the ring ladies. Yeah, you can see the ring, very pretty, happy ladies, but it's getting out of fashion now with the modernization. Yeah, this is another one which we will see is as something that is very good. They are good in handicraft, also living skills of all sorts, including making tracks in the jungle. And so this do go on. There is some cultural change, of course, more for commercialization. Okay, this Chinese newspaper cutting would tell us that actually there is a museum coming up, and they were hoping that the Chinese community, hoping that the community of Chinese community can play a part and keep their things inside. Yeah, this is our chief ministers in the BBC 200. We have this from the museum. So the museum has some collections already, but we don't have a museum in proper museum in Bau yet, just yet. Yeah. So our chief minister is very keen to build a society full of cultures. So this is one of the cultural events, I would say, because there is a plaque or a symbol of freedom, which was officiated by him during the BBC 200. So this is our one of the representative who is also talking about community cultural centers. So we can find cultural centers are found everywhere in Bau, every village. Culturally is very strong, and from the old to new. This is a school already fully built. I just got an old picture for you. So the education is in the heart of the Bidayus and the community in Bau. The government is aware of that and helping all this while. This one is a Chinese school where some people go there to donate something. So Chinese school is well established also in Bau. The Malay school, Malay will go to the government school. Before that, they will probably do a lot of kajian, mengaji, Al-Quran and so on at home and so on. So this is our darling of the Bau. Yeah, you can see the cultural change. He was from a very small, she was from a small compound. Another one. Now she has now turned Bau into international limelight. Yeah, this is Datuk Mandelela, a beautiful lady, a beautiful diver, international Olympic medalist. So he really shine for as a diamond for Bau itself. So you can see also from the picture now. This is in Singai there. I'm trying to pinpoint there is a mountain top there, and the neck of the mountain top there is a pilgrimage center. So it's a cultural change. It's a symbol of the cultural change. This is another one. You can just from a foothill walk up maybe 1 hour or less. You can go there. You can see whole thing. There is a Christian Catholic pilgrimage center. So it's you can see the warrior from the skulls collection, trophies collection during the olden days. Now towards the church. Okay, this is also a cultural change. You can see that from the previously, it was a very the individual kind of and very a bit low tech, but today you can see all the modern buildings after that pattern, after the pattern of Baroque or the head house. Very famous one. You can see now there is a civic center. Okay, there is some collection inside as well. Okay, now of course this is some taken somewhere whereby you can see country villas in Singai, and elsewhere you also can find this, like Serembu, we have our former police chief also there. All right, those are up. The first one is about cultural transformation. Then it follows in that order, political transformation. Okay, politically we can see that we can see from 4 aspects. We told the people there is getting the grips for polity of their own, indigenous polity, I call it. And then we also have proportionality, autonomy, and coalition. All this happened there. This is the older days, during the colonial days, they visit it, colonial days, or even Brooks times. Now, these are some of the statistics. People are growing up, people in terms of population, Bidayu increasing and increasing. It's just a good sign of the political success. People are not going away, people are growing socially. All right, this is our former YB, okay, incumbent now for Tasik Beru. He has a vision. When I look through the vision, I say almost all are completed. But this has to be carried on. I told you to do some. Okay. Politically, you see this Datuk Patau Rubis was one of very strong man there. He contributed a lot. Again, he was from a small village in Bau, but he went overseas and he came back, and very powerful, very intelligent. He's a doctor. Okay, and this is YB N2 Tasek Beru, Datuk Henry. You can see the peoples there. He is close to his people. He's pro-government politically. So, for example, under his leadership, CM is there to help him, to give him guidelines and so on. He's working well with other community leaders, political parties, and so on. Okay, this is I think should be almost finished. This one is the Bau district of this new one. The old one was in the town. This one is also quite near the town. It's totally modern now, very beautiful, and it's a symbol of political change, political power. This was it's in the earlier stage, whereby it was done according to schedule, and then now Bau will be step up in terms of administrative things, administratively, and running is the Bau district that runs the Bau district actually. So this is another one. Politically, you can see that there are a lot of land use problem conflicts. So this is one of them. They are against the mining activity in Serembu. You can see one handsome man there. He was a leader. So this is another one. This is newcomers, new kids in the block. Don't know how I'm going to do it. But some of the leaders are old leaders, like Dr. Tiki there. And then the rest are new. They are also interested to go to Bau there. And then this is another one as well. Yeah, Esprasi for how we do it. We don't know, but I can tell you there are multi-party politics there, which is a good sign, provided that they are realistic. So the people will know. The people about really can understand. Now, politically, somehow certain factor comes in. Now, flood is factored in on and off, especially when you have when you have quite a serious flood like this. It is not to be blamed because there is plans to overcome all this already. Now we can see also apart from all that, you can see there is a blueprint there. This blueprint is classified, but then it is largely implemented to a big extent already by the government. Yeah. All right. Thirdly, after political and before that, is cultural, we look at the economic transformation. All right, I stress here is the order here is from from cultural or socially to economic, to political. Then finally you can see is economic. So you can see the potential of this picture. You can see the potential about economically. Yeah, you can see the I would say you can see the land, the mining thing. This is all documents of the potential of minerals. All right, since the early 1900s. So right to this point is still you have sand, we have limestone, you have minerals of all sort. You even have rare earth and so on. All right. So again, this is an old document just to show you there is a transformation. You used to be a group of mining activity on. There was a plan all the time, and today there will be coming up new plans. All right. This is the old. That's to see the transformation. The colonial days, they were heavily involved in gold mining, maybe quicksilver or mercury mining. Antimony was well before that. So today we see likewise the Gora. This is the Gora mining. We can see that this silver as a mineral product was there also. So these are the evidence from the today. Are we going to be mining the Bau town or similarly or transform into another thing? We are not really sure. Economically, there is always a change in land use, in land resources. This is one of the, you can see the prosperity, the busyness, and this is, you can see a big house on the hill near Bau Center there. It was called a gold town, and people was prosperous. A lot of Chinese were there doing business. Everybody is enjoying their life. But it is not for a season only. For a few years, when the gold depleted, then problem comes. They can go back to the square one. This was a repeated picture of the mining areas. Was planned by during the earlier years of Brooks, as well as colonial days. But I think in modern days as well. Okay, we can see that this is a group of people. Actually, this is Sultana from Pahang, and we can see our former chief minister's wife. All these people are interested in Bau development, especially in gold development. You can see also down there, there's an old picture of the gold miners. And this one probably will tell you also that there is a lot of potentials. Otherwise, you cannot see such evidence. People are just growing and developing as a mining city, mining town. Yeah. All right. This is another one where they have a field trip. Right. Then they go there with the minister, Mr. Datuk Amma James Wong, late James Wong. He was in charge. Now is different political. So there was a transformation. But this kind of mining activities were already considered the past. But then there will be potential mining activities going on. But this time around, with the transformation, there will be probably new change, a better change. Now, this one is some tragedies happening at Bau, yeah, and you can see people, the bombard, the firefighters were rescuing. This happened on, I think, last year. Okay, and then this was go back to again to the 60s, 70s, where these government officials with the minister were looking at the mining community, especially the gold mining community. So you can see gold is always something prominent, feature prominent in Bau, politically, okay, politically, economically as well, yeah. So you can see now that there was in Batu Kitang, where there was no bridge yet. So you can see the vehicle and the ferry. So it just show you that there is a big transformation. Now you have many, two big bridges and more bridges connected everywhere in Bau. This is the result of economic transformations. Okay, this one is the land use. They got their NCR land and they got the titles, etc. In other words, they are growing economically and in a way, yeah. And this one is a pineapple estate, yeah. You know, is everywhere. These rural transformation projects as well as agriculture projects. A lot of this going on. It shows that there is an economic transformation. Right. This is another one. You can see the communities are involved. All the people are involved. And it's not just in Serembu here or Singai, but we can also see it elsewhere. We can also see some oil palm plantations. This one is at Serembu, where you can actually see the rice paddy fields. The paddy fields are exceptional at Serembu and used to be in other areas, but more and more now. We also can find sago actually, sago, which is quite endemic, original from Bau. Very nice dish. Of course, durian trees, for example, all the fruit trees. Now here we can see that there is a handing over of certain land titles, I suppose, by the district, via the rights of via the political representative. So these are a proof of economic role. This is another doctor, I think Dr. Beverly, a new doctor, young doctor, who has received now growing, the economic ladder socially is going up. So, this one is we'll say in terms of tourism, yeah, there is potential tourism economically. So a lot of people will come overseas and so on. And now with the Serikin open, there will be more tourists from Indonesia, from Kuching, of course, yeah, Singapore. Now this is a land is going to turn into a resort. Now it's in progress. I am showing the old picture, but nevertheless you can see the scenic blue lights. Right, and then this is at Lidatana, just a bit beyond, just before Batu Kitang, from Kuching, from Serembu side. So here you can see that there's a potential for economic growth. We have an industry there, small industries, and we also foresee there will be tourism industry as well. This is Tondong, the bridge across the Sarawak River, Kanan, Sarawak River Kanan. So this will give impetus to economic development for the both sides of the bank of the river concerned. This is very common JKR poster, billboard. Right, you have what we call rural transformation project. Is something that is helping them to build the infrastructure in particular. Okay, all right. We have also proposed this road works to the new ICQs. I think by now it has been accomplished. And ICQ is going to be the gateway to Bau from Indonesia. The Indonesian population is over 16 million, but Kuching is less than 2 million. There will be immigration, right, moving in and out. So the tourism will be very much affected. These are the road structures. We will be a lot of structures, road infrastructure connections, more and more. All right. So so there is always sometimes there is some hindrance, but then the project will continue to go with a very responsible administrators, councils, as well as representatives. Tundong is another place whereby which is near Singai, between Singai and Bratak area. This you can see the modern housing. With modern housing, many people who work there will live a very vibrant academic life in Bau. So this is one of the more important thing to think of in the long terms. Right, we can see also Pan Borneo thing. Pan Borneo actually from Lundu cut across Bau and go straight to Kuching. Bau Lundu intersection, Mountain, and you can see also the interchange of Bau, Lundu. This is talking about Pan Borneo. Pan Borneo. So Pan Borneo from Datuk, Tanjung Datuk up to Miri, even to Sabah. As you can see, this is tremendous potential. We are thinking of the Indonesian. They come from West Kalimantan. They can, go to Bau and then to do business, economy, and then from there they can go on tourism, etc. Yeah. Okay, these are also part of the development plan. I think this is Jambusan, whereby again housing project and so on. So all these are happening. Just a reminder, economic life of Bau is really actually cannot run away from rivers. We see the flood just now. We see a lot of mountains and hills. You see a lot of plantation, including the rice paddy. So the riparian aspect of it is extremely important. In the town there, you can see some gold shops. Used to be fully selling gold. This is from the Lice family I know of. And then now they already gone into other business. Hardly any articles, gold articles sold there. Yeah, although it's called a gold town. Okay. Okay, in of course, just beyond Batu Kitang, you have this senior one of cowboy town. I suppose there will be a lot of talents on Bau who start building up their entertainment centers. All right, it's like bit I call it Bau Wood, Bau Hollywood. All right, so also Bau is full of economic life in terms of nature resources. This is the exotic birds. We should have a zoo there, for example. So after seeing all this, I'd like to conclude now. Basically, there are major three transformation. One is of course cultural, and secondly is more on political political transformation, and lastly is economic. Those three transformations affect the social life of Bau. And this one, the Greater Bau initiatives was already in place and is going to develop further. So we already enter into maybe 21 years of the 21st century. We will have more years to go, and we can see Greater Bau, the whole Borneo will be transformed, especially in Bau area or Sarawak in general. Yeah, all right. So this is another physical. And probably we will redraw this particular map in future. Greater Bau will be totally drastically changed, but you remain a green diamond, a gigantic green diamond where you have sparkles here and there, sparkling everywhere, glistening everywhere, because of the settlements, because of villages, because of the transformations. All right, this is just Bau. And give you an overall view. It's very center, so it gives a lot of opportunities. All right, this is Greater Bau. You can see this happened in 2020, but we can see so many initiatives and things going on under the concept and umbrella of this Greater Bau. Yeah. Okay. Finally, you can see a pearl there. A diamond there, green colors. You try to imagine Bau is full of the greens and beautiful tranquility, beauties. But also you can see the sparkling, the white areas. These are, I think you can imagine the white areas, the settlements, the villages, the life of the people there, and also some of the geographical and geological realities or something that is so powerful in Bau. So actually green diamonds is the right description. And I said again, the Greater Bau is in the pipeline, not just in the pipeline now, is undergoing many refinements as well as advancements, right? People are gearing up, leveling up, stepping up in all sorts of things. Now, that's also to enlighten some of the scholars there, viewers. A lot of literature has been put into Bau, probably one of the oldest towns and most oldest towns, and also most what you call diversified towns, beautiful towns. Thank you very much for this enabling me to give you my talk. I hope you enjoy it. I hope that you come to visit Bau, yeah, and see the transformation. If you have not been in Bau for the last few years, you have missed out a lot of things. So, but you can catch up, no problem. In future, if you are coming, things will be even more and more beautiful, and more grander. Greater Bau will be in the more advanced stage. So I see that this part, and you can take it as it is. Remember that this Bau thing is your best line, right? Your best line for your understanding of Bau and also Greater Bau. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Voon. Now we like to invite Yang Berhormat Datuk Professor Dr. Danny Wong to give his commentary on the talk. Before we do that, let me just introduce Dr. Danny to everyone. Dr. Danny is a professor of history at the Department of History, Faculty of Arts and Social Science at the Malayan University, where he teaches history of Southeast Asia and the history of history of China. And he is currently the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences at the University of Malaya. So Dr. Danny, if you would please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ms. Elena, for kindly introduced me. It is very nice to see friends. Good evening to everyone. And let me start first of all by thanking Dr. Woon and also Dr. Henry and also the Sejati Research Institute for inviting me to say a few words on this presentation made by Dr. Woon on the topic of transformation of Bau and also towards Greater Bau of the 21st century. Now, Dr. Woon has given us a very comprehensive view of the past, as well as the vision and the scene of the things to come. For me, this is something very interesting about Bau. Now, I don't know how on for a while. I hope I'm not the one who is creating problem in terms of the noise. Sorry about that. Let me just say that today Dr. Woon has touched on three types of transformation. The first is political. Secondly, cultural, as well as economic. In fact, he put it as cultural, political, as well as economics. But I don't think I will be dwelling on political transformation. And I'm sure this is something very much in the minds of all Sarawakians, even as we are looking at next month. But I always believe that the Sarawakians always have a very strong and very high sense of political consciousness. I mean, if one were to draw back on the experience of how Rossi Dobby and friends and so on, this has always been something way advanced than many places in the country in terms of political thoughts and so on. So I will not be dwelling on that, but I would like to do something, a reverse order, but by looking into the economic transformation first, just to mention a few things. Now, as Dr. Woon has rightly pointed out, that the Bau has seen a great deal of changes since 200 years ago. It all started as a town or a region that was known for its mining activities. So if you were to read the reports of the past from the Brooks time and so on, you will see that the emphasis has always been on gold, on antimony, and as well as mercury and so on. And in fact, the Chinese rebellion, so-called Chinese rebellion of 1857, was basically over gold rights and as well as profits and so on. These things, old shops also started doing other things and so on. I think the key word has been diversify, to diversify. And throughout the slides, we can also see a lot of new projects being implemented, a shift towards farming, for instance. But this is much more of estates of diversification of economy has always been crucial, if not to thrive. And we can see that trading is also something that has been going on. We can see a lot of shops, a lot of new trading active the lower part of the river to all the way to Kuching, but also to the borders. The Indonesian borders. This is something that a potential see that Bao is also eco-nice, because ecotourism will attract younger people to the town and to the region, to the river, to look at the, a lot of things to be offered by Bao greater region. And so definitely this is a very clear indication that we have a clear direction for Bao. And I think the leaders of Bao are actually gearing up plans, visions, and objectives to actually develop all these multi-pronged, multiple kind of aspects of economy, which we'll see will definitely do well. I'm attracted by the vision put forward since the introduction of the Greater Bao idea, drawing on the 200 years of transformation in order to forge ahead. In other words, what we are looking at today is not something that's pop out of the blue. It is something that has been, that the people of Bao have gone through, have seen with their own eyes what are the potentials, what were the risks of hanging on to something just a singular kind of active plan is being put forward with a clear indication, clear idea. I think a lot of thoughts have been put into it, and I think this is very good. And I certainly hope that this transformation plan will be able to help Bao and the people of Bao to move forward in good time. However, as someone who have done a bit of planning and so on, I would like to point out that there is a need for good and strong implementation. This has always been the greatest challenge for anyone in terms of planning. We always plan well, but when it comes to implementation, I think there is always a bit of shortcoming, if not challenges. So this is something that I hope we will be able to look into. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to realize the kind of potential that Bao and the people of Bao with their talents got to offer. Now, to realize all these plans, center of economic development, I think there is also the need to start to look into other area, the areas that we talk about trading, talk about tourism and so on, and to leverage on the strategic position of Bao, as what Dr. Woon has indicated, that it is still part of the Pan-Borneo highways. It has also a neighbor across the international border with so many millions of people that we have a potential market. We have a potential tourists to draw on for various levels of tourism and so on. So this is something that I thought with careful planning and careful implementation, Bao will do extremely well. This is something that I can see because a lot of infrastructure has come up over the years, over the past 10 years or so, and I believe this will actually continue to grow with the greater Bao plan put into action. Now, let me move on to the cultural transformation, which is something close to my heart. We have seen a lot of efforts to highlight the many aspects of culture and also heritage of Bao. And you can see cultural centers have been planned. We also have seen plans to have museums, a proper museum in Bao. I think all these are fantastic, and this will actually go a long way in promoting, in offering something to the tourists when they drop by. But I would like to draw our attention to something slightly different, but it is still culture. This is, I have always, as an educator, I always like to see the people in the area of a particular area, in this case, Bao, to be given greater emphasis, given greater attention. And I, of course, during my short visits, I went to Bao on 2 occasions, and I've seen youth centers, I've seen development center in terms of talent development centers, cultural centers being established or being planned, which will continue to help the young people of Bao. And I think, you know, especially the Bidayu community and as well as other communities. These are very important because they can help the people of Bao to develop their talents and capacity. In fact, I'm very touched by all these initiatives and the resources that have been devoted to this aspect. And we can see that this is happening all over Greater Bao. And I believe this is something that we should continue to build on, working closely with the schools, with the churches, with religious organizations. I think we can actually get more people being trained, more people given extra additional things that they would not learn from school. Then they can actually go out to be a stronger person, to be a much more able person with leadership skills, with a lot of soft skills that were not being taught in schools and so on. So this would be something that is definitely that we need to invest. So this is something important. And indeed, as a result of all these activities, and I'm sure the very good efforts of the schools, all the teachers and so on, we have seen many from Bao, including the Bidayu, whom I've met, many of my colleagues in the universities from the Bidayu community. And we have seen many of them have done well, did very well in their education, and went on to achieve greater things outside of Bao and even outside of Sarawak. Now this, again, is very good. But I think there is a need for us now, while we have been successful in training the young ones, and sometimes because of their success, the original place, Bao, has been depleted of certain talents. We don't have too many young people in the area. Those who have received training, I think chances is that they are not coming back. This is something I have no data to prove it, but I believe this has always been the case for a lot of towns and cities in the different states in Malaysia. I come from Sabah, and I can say the same because it's just in West Malaysia alone, I think we would have 200 to 300,000 Sabahans, and I believe probably the same number of Sarawakians as well. So a lot of talents have been going up. And indeed, that has been the success of the school system, of the various centers of training, of cultural development and centers and so on, that they have been successful in this sense. But I think it is time for us to think about strategy, time for Bao and Greater Bao to draw draw back some of these younger, successful people. I'm not talking about those who are, immediately after graduate coming back. If they can come back, that's fantastic. But I'm also looking into targeted mid-career people who are out there, who are successful in their own career path, but who may want to actually come back to BAU, bring back with them expertise, bring back with them perhaps even resources to help with the various type of development, be it economic development. They can come back with new farming methods. They have new ideas of how to develop certain aspects of tourism. They may have certain ways of telling people how to do certain things and so on, and bringing in expertise, perhaps even with capital and so on. But to do this, it is not just by empty words. I think the leaders of BAU will need to think about this. We've probably got to put up some plans, some ideas to actually targeting some of these young people to come back. These are not your 20-somethings, this could be your 30-something, 40, early 40s and so on, mid-career people who are coming back with this know-how, this desire to make changes for their own people, to give back to their community, and to bring their family, if possible, back and settle back in BAU, for instance. Now, this is something I'm not talking out of the out of void and so on, but I've seen. I spent quite a bit of time traveling in Taiwan, and Taiwan, as usual, the main cities of Taipei, Tainan, and also Kaohsiung have drawn all these like magnets, big magnets, drawing all these talents from the smaller towns or the regions, different counties to come and to work in these great cities. But then lately, I've seen many of these places, include especially those in the central part of Taiwan, the farming area, are now receiving different groups of people. These are your young professionals decided to come back to the schools to teach, to start training centers, to start a new farming system and so on, and creating jobs for the locals and creating a lot of new opportunities and so on. So we see new industries coming out in these places. And this is something I thought interesting to look at. So I just would like to, leave this idea with the leaders of BAU for them and also the people of BAU to think about this. And I think this is something worth looking at, if not, something that you may even able to implement in the long run in future. But for the moment, it would be good to even just to look at it and to see whether this is something viable. We don't have to target hundreds or 1,000 of them, but if you can actually target, say, 20 of them coming back with their expertise, targeted kind of industry or field of activities, and I think this will make a great deal of differences. Yeah, so basically, this is not just helping to equip young people in order to make it in life, but a reverse order of getting some of these talents to come back with their families to dedicate their lives to the development or to the future of BAU. So I think I better stop here before I say to venture into things that are beyond me. But thank you once again for having me to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Danny. You actually answered my question that I asked last week regarding brand drain as well. Thank you so much for your input. Okay, now we are going into question and answer session, and we will have our moderator, Dr. Lam. Are you ready, Doctor?
Yes, I am.
Okay, welcome. It's a question and answer session.
Yes, good evening. Yam Muhammad, Dr. Henry, Dr. Voon, the speaker, and Professor Datuk Danny Wong, the commander, all participants, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to be the moderator for the question and answer session. After having listened to Dr. Voon, we understand transformation is change. Change implies development. Definitely is development. So development is to change according to the sequential order of Dr. Voon is culture, to change culture, political, and economic system. So the purpose is to ensure the optimum use of resources, the local resources, that's human as well as physical. So in fact, change is imperative. So it is a means to an end, that is people and his welfare. So of course, in the development, there is a process. The process involves planning, programming, budgeting, and evaluation. So of course, all these processes normally are worked up by the policy maker, the legislator, and also by the expert or the specialist or scholar. So we, the layman or the common people, normally we only know about the happening, the development projects after it is to be implemented. So here tonight, this seminar been organized with the endorsement by YB. I think it is a very good avenue for us to know, and of course they will hope also that we can give our feedback or suggestion, even criticism of the projects. So for Professor Dennis Wong, I think he has given some hints, some comments on the process of the planning, programming, of course, without the budgeting. So I think for us as participants here this evening, I hope all of you can actively participate, give your views, your suggestion, or I think the organizer will not mind that you give criticism as well, of course, with reason. So before I open the floor for question, that when you raise your question, could you identify yourself, if possible, also the organization or your office. So thank you. So now let's entertain the first question. Any questions?
May I respond a little bit? Dalam, may I respond a bit, Dalam?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Lam, and thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. I just recall a few. There is a trip done by Yang Berbahagia, our Datuk Henry, to I think New Zealand or Australia, just to see the gold mine day. That was probably a few years ago. And then, so their intention to build a museum has been there. I actually see a blueprint also in Ministry of Culture, Elizabeth. So I've seen it, but it was not implemented yet. But I think it's in the pipeline. How nice we have our Yang Berbahagia, Dr. Henry here, all right? But I can assure you there is this thing already in the pipeline, but maybe implementation part is a bit, bumpy, all right? And then in the meantime, Elizabeth, I reckon I saw that this civic center is Dewan Suara has a collection. It's more like a small little museum already. But then again, the civic center was undergoing and is still undergoing changes. It's actually under renovation. So there is still a collection of things there. And the other thing is that I noticed in all the villages like Batak or even Singai and so on, there are other cultural centers, cultural spots, or cultural, like a little resort whereby they have this, like more or less like what you mentioned about living museum. I foresee one day there will be a proper culture village. I think this is a fantastic idea, similar to the one in Anarais, maybe, or the one in Santubong. That is a good idea. I hope one day it will come to pass. But in the meantime, there are a lot of natural resort, natural heritage areas, or even reserved lands. So those are natural reserves. But I agree 100% with you. I know very well. There are a lot of relics, a lot of things dig up, including the pots and different things. They were in private hands. They are supposed to be in museum. They are supposed to be gazetted and be in museum and in the archaeologist's hands of our government. But then it's all in private hands. So I hope the sooner the museum is established, the better will be for Bau. Otherwise, you see history just disappear like that. I hope I help you.
Yeah, is there any third question? It seems very quiet, Dr. Boon.
Yeah.
I think they comprehend with what you say.
They either understand more than me, or they are, have no question at all. Is there anybody still here? I believe you can hear from external point of view from Professor Danny. We're so fortunate to have him, and of course, myself is a bit local, so I may not know enough. So we can take the opportunity to ask Professor Danny about transformations. Yeah. Still no question. Dalam?
Yeah, there's no.
Yeah.
How do we do, Dr. Voon?
Okay, so let me give a few words. Thanks, and hopefully there is some more questions. But well, I love to ask myself. There are just two questions. I ask myself, but somebody can help me if you have a understanding of it. Yeah, number one question in my heart as I do the research is actually when I look at economically, I'm interested to look at the Bidayu way of doing economical activities. And I found that there is this Bidayu capitalism. That's what I found. But then, but I can't 100% be sure of actually the significance of it. But I'm sure, you see, the Bidayu is very self-reliant. They have their own things, on durian trees to sell, on paddy to sell. They are very self-sufficient, as well as they are very hardworking to sell their products. And they have actually earlier days have a trade with in Bau there across the border as well. You know, the people coming in and so on, and they have trade, barter trade even with the Chinese in the town center. So I see some confusion capitalism there. But I read a book by Professor Chow, I think. Then I realized that Bidayu does have this kind of Bidayan or Bidayu capitalism. And it is something very striking to me. So today I can see the economic life of Bidayu is based on family, based on a lot of capitalism. Yeah, I mean, they realize money. In the earlier days, there's taxation. Also, perhaps that is the first educational impact upon them. They were taxed by the Brooks regime, and even before the Brunei regime already taxed, give them head tax, you know, and up to today they are still paying tax and so on. So they are living in a capitalist society. So that is number one. Number two, I find that in terms of politics, I just asking that question again. I hope somebody can confirm it. The second question is more on the politics. So I can see that the Bao people are practicing very well the consociation politics. In other words, they are practicing veto, you know. So in veto, number one, and then autonomy, number two, and then coalition, number three, and four is proportionality. In other words, they always have they practice equality, equal proportion among themselves, among the villagers, in terms of land use, in terms of resources, and with others as well, in Chinese community and Malay community. There is always I can invite that kind of proportionality, I would say. Then also they have autonomy. You can see that they really grow their plants and survive well on their own land. And now they are keeping their NCR. Almost all the NCR land in Bao are gazetted already. And of course, some still problematic, but most of them are gazetted. And in that's what I said, they do autonomous, you know, in terms, they make their decision. And the government recognize it, see? That is a beautiful part. There's the Bao is only where the Bidayu plus Peninsula Syrian side. There are not many Bidayus in this world, but big enough in terms of number to make that autonomy. I think that is fantastic. And also in terms of veto, I think in consociation politics, veto is also one of them in Bao society. You know, the Kampong people, they have very strong sense of politics, you know, some sense of governance and sense of making decision. You know, so the decision is very much reflected also in the election. and also kampong elders, and with even the inter-tribal groups, inter-settlement. Also, they have a very strong of vetoing power because they really want to make the decision, and their decision is more or less the final. If I look at history, the certain settlement, they made the decision, and then certain small village, they make the decision. About the elders come together and they make the decision, and they veto, and they really submit to their authority, submit to the elders' leadership. So this is one, and perhaps the last one is coalition. I see the politic of, or rather the governance of about people is very much coalitional or alliances. So this is something that I need some confirmation. The people there, they like to align with one another, help one another, especially in the modern day politics. But then at the same time, we can see that they have to fight for seats. They have to fight for the best brands to stand for them, stand up for them, and they are very sensitive to any mistreatment or inequality. I spoke to a few leaders of Bidayu. They are very interested in coalition, but the most important thing they want is equality in terms of benefits and resources. That means everybody equal. So that kind of sense of equality is reflected in their politics, in their political culture, and so on. So all these can anybody in the floor can help me to see whether it makes sense to you or not. Take this opportunity before we call it the night. Thank you.
Dr. Voon,
Yeah.
can I respond to you on the capitalism that you mentioned
Okay.
about the Bidayu? I think, of course, the traditional practice of labor sharing in the past among the Bidayu community. So nowadays it seems have been declined or diminishing. Is it?
All right.
So
all right.
has that been one of the reasons contributing to the individual capitalism of the Bidayu?
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Ram. I think, that observation is very sharp. It's diminishing. I think it is a fact. I think because of the modernization, because of the patronage system now a bit coming into place, bigger picture now. I think that, for example, the mining lease is one of the clear example. I think so. If there is no externality or external intervention from anywhere, if they are themselves, then you can see the Bidayu capitalism is very much at play. Like the Chinese, they have Confucian capitalism. Actually, they are family-based and community-based. But with the modern, about now, with the government sponsorship, or state sponsorship kind of thing. So then the intervention externally, and then sometimes I think the children, like what the Professor Dennis says, the brain drain, the people went out of Bau, and then they have relied on jobs elsewhere. So the labor thing also shifting here and there. So the whole economic fluidity is there. So I think, you are right. Now it's diminishing. I agree. But then it is a pity, I think, to me, because there is a very, to me, this is a very good virtue. If a community is self-reliant, they retain it. In other words, like Professor Denny, if the business is going back, going back, then the whole Bau will stay vibrant. If it is diminishing, I think it's a very sad state of affair. But if it's a reverse, and the Bidayu capitalism, if it's striving and is still understood and practiced by everybody, I think it's the best to not just the community alone, also for families, because there's a lot of family now being broken up. not because of emotional conflict or what, but because of economic interest. I think, for example, now who is learning Bidayu language? At Kampong, I asked a few young people, also my school student. Actually, they learn Bidayu language and the mother tongue, this Jagoy Singai language, or Bidayu. They actually learn from the grandmother. They learn from the grandmother. They don't learn from the parents. The parents are all English educated or they speak Malays in the town outside Bau. So the only way is for them to learn their language back is go back to mother tongue, go back to the villages in Bau itself, where the grandmother is, or they will grew up with their grandmothers. So I think this is what you say, the diminishing effect, which is very sad to me. All right, Dr. Lam, I hope it helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Prof. Denny, I know your cultural expertise. Can you shed some light on this?
No, I think what you have said and also what Prof. Dr. Lam has said are right on, spot on. I think whenever we see transformation of society, these are the issues that always crop up. But on the political culture and so on, I think that is something that requires further work. At least for me, I would need to read more to understand more about this kind of alliance culture in terms of the political culture and so on. But coming back to the to learning of culture, learning of dialects and so on, yeah, everywhere we are losing the battle of fighting against the disappearing of languages and dialects, especially. Even among the Chinese nowadays, the younger generations will not be able to speak the mother tongue dialect and so on, or the patriarchy dialect. Say if you're a Hakka, you're supposed to learn Hakka, but nowadays chances is that they will speak only Mandarin or English or Malay and so on. I think likewise, the people of Sabah and Sarawak are quickly, very fast losing their dialects, their original languages as well. So this is something that perhaps the Bidayu association will be able to look into this to actually start a kind of program where they can actually reteach some of these languages. Of course, the Iban language is now part of the mother tongue. I think learn your own people's own language program. I'm not sure about the Bidayu. In certain countries, in Taiwan, the Hakka people in Taiwan have set up at a commission where they actually started to have certificates of proficiency for Hakka languages. So they, for every government servant who has been posted to a Hakka area, they must actually give a, they must actually pass a certain level of competency of the language before they can be posted to the area. But if they are supposed to be posted to another area, then it will be another dialect and so on. It's very much like the old British system where they train people, British officers usually will be able to speak the local dialects, local languages, because before they arrive, they would have learned part of that before they actually arrive. So that's why you have schools like School of Oriental and African Studies, so as in the UK and so on. So this is something interesting to actually look into. But the efforts, it has to be put in before we start losing the languages so fast. Yeah, that's my take, Dr. Woon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this one I just like to add is DBNA, the Bidayu
Yes.
Association. They do have some program, but in my observation, with due respect to the DBNA people like Dr. Ip Bahon and so on, This I think can be intensified lah. That's what I can see, because from my observation in schools, most of them cannot, unless they have grown up in about, now they started in the kindergarten, everything where lah. But I wish one day I actually have a dream, if they have a university who give such course. I think Baut now, IBAN has reached the university level in terms of language learning, IBAN language, you see. So I was even toying with that. talking to a few intellectuals there. I said, why don't you start university? And of course, you use your culture and then something like that. Or at least now it's not in the secondary school, so the curriculum side. So I just hope that your input here could help them to make some decision on this one, to advance this course. Yeah, it is true. Many languages, but they still speak it. And one of the criteria is that I was told, if you want to have an NCR land in Bau, for example, you must be able to speak Bidayu and live there. Speak their language, Jagoy and so Jagoy, but Singai. They got Jagoy Singai. So at the end of the day, I think it's still, my observation is that it's still losing, and it's very, 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 to me, very sad again. And then yeah, this is something I think the BNA could look further into it. This is just our observation, I suppose. Yes. Yeah. Dr. Lam? Yeah.
Yeah. What time are we supposed to close, Dr. Boon?
Okay. Yeah. Maybe if there is no that one, we can close now. Pass to MC. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Boon.
Yeah.
And thank you,
Yeah.
Professor Datuk Dennis Wong. And not forgetting also our Elena, our MC.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Lam. And thank you, Dr. Voon and Professor Dr. Denny, so much for your time. Now, I think Nick has a session for us to take a photo. Is it something like that, Dr. Voon?
Photo
Yes,
session.
Mr. Nick.
Okay. Nick,
Make
over
sure
to you.
everybody on their video and have a big smile. Yeah.
Okay. Can everyone turn on your camera, please?
All the participants.
Everyone, please.
On video.
Just for a while. No rise knee. Just for 5 seconds. Okay. Juliet Venice. Okay. Okay, I will take the photo in 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you. Pass to Elena.
Okay, thank you. It is a wonderful session tonight. I wish we could have more time, but then it's getting late. So thank you very much for everyone for your presence. And I'm sure we have more questions to come. I think this is going to be another session, right? Session 4, Dr. Voon?
Yeah.
In December.
Next week. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, next week. Yeah.
So hope to see everyone again next week. And thank you so much for this, for your presence tonight and everybody. So that's all for tonight. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you and good
Thank
night.
you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Sekejap, sekejap.